Restaurants miss around 30% of their phone calls. For the average location, that's $180,000 in lost revenue every single year. And the worst part, 62% of those customers will never call back. They'll just go to your competitors instead. I know it because I've done it. For the past year, we've worked with a $250 million restaurant chain in North America with over 200 locations to solve their missed call problems. And today, I'm going to show you a complete voice AI ordering system that can answer every single phone call, take the customer's orders, process their payment automatically, and inject them into a Square POS system that restaurants actually use, not just using Google Sheets like all those YouTube gurus you saw online. First, I'll show you a full demo of the system. Then I'll break down the system so you understand how all the pieces connect together. Then we'll build the voice agent together step by step. And by the end of this video, you'll have a complete system that can answer every single phone call, even during your busiest hours, and turn those into revenue. And if you want to see similar voice agent systems being built into your business, you're more than welcome to use the link in the description to book a free discovery call with me and my team. If you're new to this channel and don't know who I am, my name is Edwin Chen, and over the past year, I've been running my own AI company, Legacy AI. We've partnered with 46 different companies and service brands where we solve the sales and customer retention problem through different conversational AI systems like the one you see in this video.
Hey, this is Alice from Domino's. What can I get started for you today?
Hey, I'm just trying to order a large pepperoni pizza and a medium Canadian pizza.
Perfect. So I've got a large pepperoni and a medium Canadian for you. Let me get those saved in your order. Awesome. Want to add any sides or drinks? We've got wings and soft drinks if you're interested.
Not really, but can I actually have another maybe large barbecue chicken pizza, please? Because I actually have 3 people here.
Absolutely. No problem at all. A large barbecue chicken pizza coming right up. That makes perfect sense for 3 people. So now I've got a large pepperoni, a medium Canadian, and a large BBQ chicken for you. Any sides or drinks to go with those pizzas?
No, I'm fine.
Perfect. Let me get the pricing for everything and give you the breakdown. All right, so I've got a large pepperoni for $19.99, a medium Canadian for $16.99, and a large BBQ chicken for $19.99. That brings your total to $56.97. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Perfect. Let me get all the details locked in. Awesome. I just need some quick info. What's your first and last name?
It's Tom Smith.
Great. And what's the best phone number for this order?
Yeah, so it's +44 749 2421 655.
Perfect. And where are we delivering to? I'll need the street address and zip code.
Yeah, so it's 123 High Street. The zip code is BN20BL.
Perfect. Let me set up a secure payment link for you. Just texted a secure payment link to your phone. Did it come through?
Yeah, it did.
Perfect. Go ahead and tap that link to complete the payment. I'll wait right here. Just give me a shout when you're done.
Yep, I'm done now.
Perfect. I can see your payment went through successfully. Your order is confirmed and paid for. The kitchen has all the details. Large pepperoni, medium Canadian, and large BBQ chicken heading to 123 High Street. You should see those pizzas in about 30 to 40 minutes.
So this is Voiceflow. If you didn't know, it's a platform where it allows you to build chat and voice agents. And for these purposes, we'll need to build the voice agents, right? So the first thing we need to do is go to interface. You go to modality interface. Your default should be chat, like this, like a chatbot. But we want to build a voice agent, so we need to change it to voice. Then you can go back to the interface, and you can actually use this, go to the logic and drag the set step. And from here, you can click plus, and you can click value or expression. And for now, you would need to set a variable called agent number. So this basically allows the Voiceflow agent to know which number you're calling to, because this is an inbound voice call calling from the stranger to the Voiceflow, to the Twilio number, basically. Once you've set that to last event payload.agent number with the variable agent number, right? You just copy this expression. This will basically be the agent, the AI agent number, right? And you set today to VF now, which is a default expression to let the agent know what is today's date, right? And after all that, we fetch that into the AI agent, right? Now, if you haven't watched this restaurant video before, I basically broke down a very, very similar system, but for single order. If you haven't watched that, you can stay to the end of this video and you can watch the video with the link in here. But for now, let's just focus on here. Right, within here, you want to use the agent tab. All you have to do is drag the agent to the canvas, and now you will have the agent tab. And within the agent tab, you will have the prompt. Now, I'm going to break you down how we think about prompts in general, right? So in general, we have different headings, different structures of a prompt. Role, which always has happened. Task, I call it SOP, but it's basically task, if you want to, right? Task, which is what the agent should be doing, right? We have a step-by-step process. And we have two definitions, right? And we also have general rules, or if you want, you can call this notes as well, right? So general rule or notes, two definitions, or you can call it context if you want. Tasks and role are the bread and butter of basically every single prompt and how we think about prompting, right? For example, in this case, the role is basically how you want the agent to act. So you're Alex, a senior order helper at Domino's. Your job is to guide users through ordering pizza and other items from a menu, process their payment, and confirm the order of the kitchen, right? You basically let them a rough idea of what you know, right? Follow this SOP step by step, keep it natural in conversation, right? And for voice agents, you usually want to have some sort of voice and tone guidelines. So this is a voice conversation. So keep it natural, like you're chatting with a friend. Use contractions like ow, you have that's with and casual language. Keep the sentences short and punchy, so it's easy to understand when spoken out loud. Right, be warm, friendly, and efficient, etc. Right. So this is how you define how the AI agent should sound. Because not only should the AI agent should be able to do certain things, it should be able to behave like a human and actually sound conversational, right? So this is where this will happen with this kind of voice and tone guidelines. We then have the tasks, which is the SOP. Usually in a task, we use a chain of thought prompting, which is a step-by-step prompting. So first do this, second do this, and third do this, right? So in this case, it will be step one, do the greeting and opening, answer warmly like you're picking on the phone. For example, hey, this is Alex from Domino's. What can I get started for you today? And keep it light and inviting, right? And listen to what they want to order. Step two is to capture the initial pizza order. Listen to all the pizzas they mention up front. So they might say, I want a large barbecue chicken, brown, medium Canadian. For each pizza, you need the pizza name and quantity. And if they don't mention the size, ask naturally. And what size for the BBQ kitchen, for example, and collect all the pizzas they want before moving forward, right? Once you've done that, then we need to save the pizza item. Now, this is the important, very, very important part. The previous video that I've done is for single order. So it basically fetches, I'd say an order. So I say pepperoni pizza. It then go ahead and check the Square POS to fetch live data about the food item, aka the pizza that I just ordered, and then send the information back. Now, what if the user in a real life situation, that doesn't really happen because the user can obviously order multiple things. If I want a barbecue chicken pizza and a Canadian pizza, right? And also, what if they want sides? As you can see in the damages now, what if they want to upsell and be like, hey, actually I want wings and I also want a can of Coke, right? So this is where the complexity comes in. And the way you do that is actually to compile them into a JSON, what we call JSON. It's basically a way to group different things. So for example, these are the example inputs. The name can be barbecue chicken. The size is large, right? This is the JSON. And the name, Canadian, and the size medium. We basically want a key value pair. We want the name and the size, which allows us to organize these food items categorically in a list, right? It builds up the order in an array, which is a list that starts off empty. And from here, the agent is calling a tool to allow this to happen, right? It's called save items. So use this tool whenever you need to append or add order like food items to the array, right? So to make it a little bit more simpler, I'm just going to draw it. So like you have a list of items, right? You start off an empty list. Then the user say, hey, I want a large BBQ chicken, right? I want a large BBQ chicken. Then what happens is this array, you will have basically name, right? You will have barbecue chicken. And you will have the size, which is large, right? And you will have the size. I'm using a track pack, so ignore my my handwriting. So it'll be large. And then the user can say, hey, I actually want, a can of Coke, right? So like a drink. And then you add this Coke into this array, right? You will add it within this array, and this list of items gets larger and larger. Just imagine this is your shopping list, right? As you go to the supermarket and you buy more things, the kind of list, think of the list as your shopping basket, it will go larger and larger. The amount of items inside that basket will get more and more and more as you get more food from the supermarket, right? So same with basically this tool call. It gets larger and larger. So let's actually have a look. So we have the input, which is the array, which is the list of food items containing the food item and the size for pizza only. And we have the item, which is a JSON with the name of the food item and the size for pizza only, right? So this code, if you're not technical, again, don't worry too much about it. You can just use ChatGPT to help you write this function with you. And I actually have linked all the resources with the code as well as the N810 flow in a compiled in a resource that you can get for free. Stick to the end of this video and I'll show you how to get it. So basically this is called the save items tool, right? So it builds up the list. And after saving the pizza, naturally ask about sides and drink. This is where the upselling comes from, right? You offer the sides and the drinks. You need to keep it casual, right? So awesome, want to add any side to drink? We got wings and soft drinks, right? When we wait for their response, right? And then they was like, oh yeah, if they want side to drinks, call save items again for each one, right? You're adding the food items into the list, right? And it will look something like this. Once you've captured the complete order in the variable called array, which is a list of all the food items, you need to call the search menu tool. And you need to send all items as one list like this. So this is a list, right? So items, this is a JSON of items, and these are the list of food items that you just added by using this function, by using this code called save items, right? And you just add all of them on, right? Now, search menu is basically a tool which allow us to fetch real-time information such as, is the stock still available in the kitchen? Live information like prices, ingredients, SKU, the unique ID in where we store these food items, right? For example, will be all stored in a POS system or point of sale system called Square. Now, the reason why we don't just paste the menu directly into this prompt is because this is not very scalable in the sense that if I want to adjust information about the price, for example, of the menu that can change, it's not really scalable to every time have to go into the AI agent and just change the prompt. It's much more easy to just change it within the dashboard inside the Square system, right? And also, Square also allows us to fetch real-time information like if it's low on stock, if the food item is still available, right? It needs to dynamically know whether a food item still available in the kitchen, right? This is why we use Square. So Square is basically a POS, so you can just go sign in and create a new account, and it will go something like this, right? So we have a test account, right, which is the sandbox test account, and we open the Square dashboard, and this is basically a sandbox environment that allows us to play with different food items. And the way you can add items into Square, by the way, is to go to items, you go to item library, and you can go create item. And from here, you can just do it one by one if you want. So I can add, let's say, wings. I will add a description called wings, right? And you can also add an SKU if you want. You can add a weight. You can add the price. I'll just call it £6 for now. And you can add low stock alert, etc., attributes, etc. I'm not going to go too much into it. Like it should be relatively straightforward. Just go through all of this depending on your specific restaurant, and we'll just go click save, and it will create that specific items. As you can see, the wings is, I double created it because I already created it once, so I'm just going to delete it, right? But as you can see there, I've already added basically the entire Domino's menu in here. It's got the pizza name as well as the category, which is Feast Pizza, and the price, right? What you actually want to do if you want to add a category is to go to categories, and you go to create category, and you can just create a category called, let's say, sides, and you can click save, right? Now you've created a category called sides, and you can go to the item library, right? And you can click on wings, and you can actually add the categories by going selecting here. You can just select sides, and done, and click save. And now you can see the category side. Now you can filter the food item by their categories if you want, and by their stock. For now, I just leave it empty, but obviously, depending on your restaurant, you can enter the stock manually here. But if you have a large menu and you don't want to do this one by one, what you can do is you can import the library. AKA, you have a template that you can download, and you just need to fill in this template, which is actually in an Excel sheet. So in this Excel sheet, you can see there's certain formats you need to follow, like your token, the item name, the variation name, right? The SKU, which is a unique identifier, description, weight, etc. Right? Just follow this template and fill this in inside an Excel. And I'm just going to delete this. But what you can do is you can just fill in the template and import it here, and it will automatically import all of your entire menu of food items into the item library, right? This is how items work. Now, because this is real-time data, this is dynamic. So what the search menu tool is actually doing is to find any pizza on the menu. It takes a pizza name, size, an optional list. Well, actually, this is not quite true. So we use this tool to find any food items on the menu, right? And it can take a list, right? I forgot to put in a list, but it also works this way. A list of pizza name, size, and an optional list of toppings, and return the official details and price, right? So so again, if I forgot to mention, for each tool, you should have a LLM description. So this allows the AI agent to decide when to do this tool call, when to use this function, right? For example, the agent should use this function to find any food on the menu, right? For example, it takes an input variable, which I've set a default value into array, which is a Voiceflow variable inside array, right? Because remember, where does array come from? Array comes from the save items function. The agent decides the array which starts from 0. It adds the item into our shopping list, or our shopping basket if you want, and it outputs a final value, something like this, right? And this is a default value, a final value, and I now just take that value and send it through Square to fetch the real-time data, right? Hopefully you're still with me. And you can click on the pencil button, and you can click the input variable, which is array, right? And from here, I need to send an API call, right? And the way to do that is actually through something called NAN. If you didn't know, NAN is basically an automation platform. You will also have access to this template if you follow the link in the description. So you will also have access to a template if you actually stay to the end of this video. So don't worry too much about the specific builds. The only thing that you really need to change is if you go to webhook, which is basically a way to transfer data from one place to another, aka from Voiceflow to the NAN. All you have to do is click on production URL, click it to copy the webhook, and actually paste it inside here and change this to post, because we are sending data from Voiceflow to NAN, right? And for body, just format it as items array, right? The reason why is because we want to send something like this to the NAN agent to fetch the data, right? And once the webhook receives the data, I then set basically all the items to be a variable, right? And then I did some coding, right, essentially to format it properly. Again, don't worry too much about the specifics, you will have access to this. And then it's going to loop over each item, right? So because there are multiple items in here, so you can have the barbecue chicken, you can have Canadian, you can have the wing, right? So it's going to loop through each food item here, essentially. And for each food item, it's going to use the search catalog API. Now, all I want you to do is if you go on the developersquare.com, the search catalog items, all you have to do is click on copy, and you just need to click on import curl, paste the whole thing here, and click import. And then you will fill it out automatically, essentially. And one thing you need to know is you need to change the URL from connect.squareup.com to connect.squareupsandbox.com, because this is a sandbox, right, that we're playing with. Ignore the header. There is an API key that you need to use, which is the access token. And the way that you can know the access token is if you go back to your developer@squareup.com, right? You go to your applications, you create an application, and you open your application that you just created, right? And you go to credentials, you click on sandbox, and then you click copy, and then you will just paste that access token right here, right? That's the only thing you need to change from the template. So what this does is basically it takes a text search filter and return the food item that you're trying to search. So if I now, let's say I'm searching for barbecue chicken, what it will do is we'll go ahead and send barbecue chicken in here and send to the search catalog API, and it will go ahead and return all the information related to that pizza, right? So as you can see here, it will return things like the item ID, the name, the different item variation, the price money, right? How much it cost, etc. Right? They will all be in, all the information about this food item will be fetched, like back in the API. We then do some formatting, right? Some sort of formatting and use the variables that we want. And then we repeat for each of these food items for barbecue chicken, Canadian, wings, etc. Depending how long your order list is, right? After it's done, it's going to go ahead and do a filter. Now, this is important because remember, we have set the user request a size for the pizza. What this API will return is the pizza, all the variations of that specific pizza, right? So if I go ahead and if you go back to this, for example, barbecue chicken, you know that there are 4 variations: small, medium, large, and extra large. Whereas this API will return all 4 variations, but we only want the size that matches what the user wants. That's why we have a filter node that basically means that the size must match with what the user has entered here, essentially, right? What the user entered here. That's why we need that. And then return to the webhook and send that information back to Voiceflow. And that's why we capture the response and save it inside a variable called price chunk. The price chunk will contain all the price of the menu, barbecue chicken, Canadian, and wings, for example, right? Back to the Voiceflow. This is a rough idea on how the NAN works. Then, after it returns the price, the search manager returns the price, like $16.99, $20.99. You must divide each price by 100 before telling the customers, because basically how Square API works is that the money is actually in, like, with the decimal places is by 2 places off. So $16.99 is not actually $1,699, it's $16.99, right? So the AI agent needs to know that. Then what it's going to do is going to present the breakdown conversationally. So it'll be like, all right, so I've got a large barbecue chicken for $16.99, a medium Canadian for $12.99, and an order of wings for $8.49. That brings you a total of $80 for 5 cents, right? So keep it conversational, right? Then we get the confirmation if the user are happy or not. The user is happy. Then what we're going to do, step 9, is we're going to format the price breakdown. Once confirmed, call the price breakdown to create a format to build. Now we need to send the payment link to the user so that they can go ahead and pay, right? And to do that, we need to basically send the list of the food items. So let's say barbecue chicken, but instead of size this time, we need to know the price, right? Because the Square API needs to know the price in order to basically create the invoice, right? And to do that, we basically call the price breakdown tool. Again, use this tool whenever you need to append the price to the bill. The logic is exactly the same as save items. It's another function, but we started off, if you notice, it's very, very exactly the same. So we have a list called bill, right? So it started off empty. And we have a list of food items: barbecue chicken, Canadian, and wings. And for each of these food items, I'm basically appending the food item name and the price that we just fetched from the NAN to here, to this function. So all this function does, again, is loop over that loop, right? So again, we have this empty list, but instead of, we have the food name, which is barbecue chicken, but instead of the size, we have now the price, right? The price. And we just add that into the list and then repeat the same process for all the different food items the user orders, right? That's how this function works. And so it takes the breakdown, which is the food and the price, the bill, which is started off as an empty list, and returns a finished, confirmed, and finalized list of the price breakdown. We call it bill inside variable, right? Then, right, what we're going to do is we're going to have a bill, right? And then we're going to collect the customer information, because in order to collect the information, we need to know where it delivers to. We need to know the name and the address and the phone number, right? So we need to know the first name, last name. We need to know the phone. We need to know the street address and the zip code. This is kind of the same as the last video, so it's pretty straightforward. It's just collecting the customer's information. And once you've done, then we're going to go ahead and call the create payment tool, right? So use this tool only after users confirm their order and price. It takes the unique variation ID and price to generate a secure Square payment link, right? So it's going to go ahead and collect the first name, the last name, the phone number, the zip code, and the address. This is just the agent talking to the user. And bill, which is the finalized price breakdown that you just created from the price breakdown tool. All of these as input into this tool, right? Again, we'll be calling the NDN. Again, we go to the webhook, you copy the production URL, and you just paste it in here. And again, you just repeat basically, this is basically telling the Voiceflow what variables I need to send to NAN to create that invoice, right? And to do that, well, we have the bill, right? We have the bill variable. We have the address, zip, etc., etc. Basically, all the information that's needed. And then from here, we have a webhook that receives all the data. We then formatted it properly, again, using a code. Again, don't worry too much about this. You do some formatting. And then what you're going to do is you want to create a customer object, right? You want to create a customer object. So to do that, you will need to use the create customers endpoint. Again, you can just copy this code and you can just click import code and paste it here and click import, right? And this will just automatically fill it in. Again, be careful of Square App Sandbox. You do your access token. And then from here, you will need to follow this structure, which is the given name, which is the first name that you get that you collect from Voiceflow, right? Remember, we collect the first name, right? We actually don't need the quantity here, the first name. And then we have the family name. And then we have the address 91, which is the address that you collect. We have the postal code, which is actually the zip, right? The zip code that you just collect, which is here. And we have the country. For me, it's Great Britain. For you, it could be US, for example, right? And then you send this payload. And after you've done that, this will actually go ahead and create a customer object. So if you go back to, go back to Square, to the dashboard. If I go back to customers, customer directory, you can see that there's a Tom Smith, right? And then it basically created that customer. And we have the address right here, etc. And this is actually created just now when we're calling the API, right? Just now as you see in the demo. So this is actually how you can see the customers that you've created through the sandbox environment. And it's actually done by calling this API endpoint, actually. And after you create the customers, you want to create a payment link, right, that the user can actually pay. And to do that, you actually want to do the create payment link API, follow the same instructions. And from here in the body, you can just copy this, which is the location ID is depending on where you're from. You can look it up. This is for me, it's in the UK. I'll just keep it for now. And the line items, right, which is basically the list of the food items basically it's the food items and the price, the name and the price, right, which is a JSON that you get from array. Right? If you go back to the restaurant ordering, for bill, remember we sent this bill variable, which contains a breakdown of the food item name and the price. This is actually how you're able to get that. And you just basically paste that in directly within line items. And this will automatically create a payment link, right? And if you see my execution log, you can actually see the payment link that it created. So this is the execution that we just created just now, right? Through the demo, you can see that it created. This is basically what the line items, which is basically what bill, the variable bill, looks like again, which is basically a list of all the food items. You've got the quantity, but you also got, more importantly, the price, right? And it created a customer object, right? Like this. And then we also create the payment link and the order, which you can see the URL, right? This URL. And you can go ahead and paste this URL. And you can go ahead and actually pay. But this is in a sandbox environment, then you can just see the preview link, right? And this is the preview link, and then you can just pay through this way, essentially. This is what gets sent to your phone number, to the customers, essentially. And yeah, this is basically you create a payment link and you send it back to Voiceflow, right? If you go back to Voiceflow, you can see that we have different things, right? We have the status, we have the payment URL, which is the payment link, right? And then we have the order ID, which is the payment order ID, right? So this basically captures the payment URL. If you go back to here, you can see that there's the payment link URL, right? Payment link URL, right? Saved to the variable payment link. and order ID is sent to the payment order ID, right? It's basically capturing these variables back to Voiceflow. And afterwards, you basically send them an SMS, right? After sending the SMS, confirm with them naturally, send a secure payment link to your phone to come through. And then once they got it, so go ahead and take this link to complete. I'll rate right here, right, etc. So this is where like it would be done using the send SMS integration tool with Twilio, right? I've done so many videos how to use Twilio at this point. So please go ahead and like basically integrate Twilio to your account. You can click on manage, and then you can just connect your Twilio account here, essentially, right? You just click connect it. Not going to go too much into it. But Twilio is basically what's going to provide you a virtual number to be able to send message from the customer, from the agent to the customers, essentially. So you'll just fill in the body will be the payment link, right, that you just received from the payment API that you just got, right? Use this tool to send a text message containing the payment link to the user's phone number. The rest should be pretty straightforward, and it's really the same as we've done in the previous video. So this inject POS is like a final step to confirm payment and send to the kitchen. So it's the order ID from the create payment, right? So from here, you can see the order ID, and they're basically going to use this tool to check the order ID to see if the status is successful or not. If it's successful, that means the payment went through. If it's pending, that means that the payment is still being processed, right? And to do that, again, it's through the inject POS. You can watch the previous video, but basically it uses this tool as the final step. After the user states they've paid, it takes the order ID, confirms the payment, and finalizes the order in the POS, which takes the input variables as the order ID and the status and the estimated time, right? And I didn't actually change that much from the previous video. We're still using the make.com flow from the previous video, which again, you have the webhook. The only thing you need to configure is this webhook, and you can just copy to your clipboard. And you can go here and paste in the URL here and paste in the order ID, which is what you need to send from Voiceflow to the make.com, right? And then you have this Square API, right? Which is a get order node, right? If you just click plus, again, you can check the previous video, but basically you can just click on get order node, right? I'm just going to delete this module. And then you can check if the payment is successful, right? If the status is successful, then it captures the response saying the status is successful and we need the estimated time, right? If it's not successful, then it says pending, right, etc. So it's really much the same. And from here, this is basically the final step. And once everything is confirmed, then we're good to go. And yeah, this is basically or the conversational flow throughout this agent, right? Again, in the prompt, we should also try to always good practice to basically define the tools. So like give the context. So like, the name and the size. What is search menu tool? What is the price breakdown tool? You're trying to explain to the agent what each of these tools actually means and when to call these tools. This is very important for the agent to correctly call the tool at the exact right time, right? To make sure the time of the tool is right? And you define the variables, right, that it's going to get, right? Again, defining on the tools. And as a general note or note, it's like some final reminders to the agent, right? Think of it that way. So you say like, always follow up, right? Don't skip around. If someone asks about non-ordering stuff, we can only help with orders right now. Reminder that the pizza always in small, medium, large, or extra large. Slice and drinks don't have size. Always divide prices by 100 before speaking to the customers, etc. Right? This is basically a final gentle reminder to the agent. This is the AI agent. And if you would like the full template to play around with yourself, right, to figure out the NAM flow and play around with it, you're more than welcome to use the link in the description where you can just get all these free resources for free. And if you want to build something similar like this for your business, right, like some sort of voice receptionist or similar AI systems, you're welcome to use the link in the description and a comment as well to book a free discovery call with me and my team, and then we can have a look and then we can have a discussion. But yeah, if you enjoyed this type of content, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.